What's up, guys, and welcome back. My name is Splattercat, and we're here at the Nerd Castle today playing another episode of Expeditions Conquistador. So where we had left off after being actually very successful at holding off an attack on our envoys from Tepik because Zalapa and Tepik I think were trying to team up so that they could fight with the Aztecs, as I recall. And we were able to defend the diplomatic meeting, so everybody is still alive, diplomacy reigned, sort of. Some of my diplomats had to get their hands wet with a little bit of blood work, but it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta wet the knife when it comes to diplomacy. So let's take a look at our map, and that's the first thing I like to do in these episodes now because I don't want to miss anything. So we'll figure out what we can and can't do in this episode. What the quest wants us to do is it wants us to head back to Zalapa or Tepik. I can't remember. So let's take a look and figure out first and foremost where I should be going. So looking at the quest log, it says that we're headed back to Zalapa. So let's find Zalapa. Let's see here. And that's Zalapa right there, the giant golden one that's practically flashing at me, being like, Splattercat, you idiot, head over here. Come back for your quest reward. Don't do all the work and then walk away from it. That's a punk move. That is a chump move, Splattercat, and we don't respect you if you do it. So let's see what else is going on. It looks like there's a little trail, maybe. Is that the trail that I missed? Oh, it might be. Let me see if I can hit this. There's a little marker right here that says Amazon territory, and I actually kind of want to check it out. We walked past it in the last episode, and I am interested in seeing what's going on there because I don't like to leave things behind, he said after 2 episodes ago, leaving El Dorado in his dust. We'll go back there too, I promise, though. We'll figure it out. I will make a separate video just in case if I have to. And so, let's take a look. And I believe it's going to let me pass through here unhindered, would be my expectation. There we go. And so can we get to the top of the mountain here? Ooh, we can. Just beating our way through the jungle. Take that, jungle. Take that. We will beat you to the jungly punch, which I love jungle fruit punch, by the way. Jungle fruit punch. Actually, I think what is that thing? It's like Starburst. They've got like a jungle pack. It's like a different color, or it's a tropical pack. That's what it is. And they've got fruit punch in there. That's what I'm referring to. It's the greatest thing ever. So I really don't know how to get to Aztec territory over here. It seems as though the game wants to make it difficult, so I'm going to do my best to figure it out. We're going around the horn, and let me just stare at the map more and more. Maybe we just have to go around there like we were going to before. But before I do that, let's go back, and I'd like to acquire some treasure from some of these locations. There are markets and things over here that are going to be useful to us, especially since the guards were giant, massive failures and allowed 700 valuables to be stolen. Jerks. You guys are terrible at your job, and I don't love you anymore. What we can do is come to the little market square here, and we're going to do some trade while we're stuck. Although we don't have a lot of extra stuff left over, we can get rid of some equipment, I think. So we'll get rid of 10 equipment. We'll trade that. There we go. We'll also get rid of, oh, say 60 medicine, maybe? There we go. So that'll put me at 200 medicine. The merchant has preposterous prices. Diabetes. But let's go ahead and... I always thought that Wilford Brimley seems kind of like he would use the word preposterous, like all the time. We should talk to the high priest here. And so, we came here before, so I'm not going to reread this, but it's basically a giant temple where they sacrifice people to the gods. And so we're going to talk to the priest, and it says Momotzli, or Momotzli, there we go. Momotzli is a tall and thin man in his 30s with a persistent, cruel glint in his eyes. Before you're even all the way through the introduction, he pulls you and your translator aside to talk in private. By now it should be clear to you that I'm an influential man in the city. A favor owed by me is a significant advantage to anybody here. Judging by his outfit and the way his slaves and subordinates act around him, there is no question that this is the case. Likewise, it is clear to anyone but the greatest, most oblivious fool that you and your people are a force to be reckoned with. Now permit me to ask you this question. How familiar are you with the area around the city? We know it all right. Momotzli seems pleased. Then you may be aware a band of women that roam the jungles to the southwest of the city led by a woman named Kitlali. Are you familiar with these people? Nope, we haven't encountered them. No matter, all you must understand is that our history with Kitlali and her band of revolutionaries is dark and troubled. It would be in the best interest, our best interest, if Kitlali were to be removed from these lands. Momotzli puts a bit of stress on our, and it's clear he speaks for the higher castes of Tenochtitlan. Well, we'll see what we can do here. Return to me. His face looks... He gets a peculiar smile, mixing malevolence and gratitude in a way you had previously never imagined to be possible. Return to me with Kitlali's talisman when you have executed a solution. Her fate is all I care about. Her sisters will be no affront to us without their most notorious war chief. As Mamatsuli retreats back to his temple, you get a feeling he has something altogether more personal at stake than the reputation of Tenactalan. I get the feeling that if we had run across roving bands of women, just wild women in the jungles, my soldiers would have told me about it, because every time I go to a new city, I find them with their drawers down, which is what happened when we first got here. So I say to you soldiers, let me know if you down your drawers anytime recently, so that we can find some Amazons. We will use a calendar, and we will mark the dropping of your drawers to figure out their location. We'll triangulate. With the guards, what are you doing, guards? What are you doing? We lost 39 medicine. So, for the first time in a while, we're under 200 medicine, which is partially my fault. I mean, it is something that I just allowed to happen by trading for treasure, but we've got to build some stuff for our fort. Our fort is barely a fort right now. It's more like a square of walls with nothing inside of it. It is a large hollow square at the moment. There's nothing really worth defending inside of it at all. Now, I think I should probably get myself some rations. Let's see if we can trade a little bit of our equipment for rations. There we go, and that'll pop us back up. And we'll make sure on the way back to take careful care, I guess. We'll be very careful to grab whatever herbs and things we can while we make our way back to Zalapa. So, I'm going to check my map one more time to make sure that I'm on the correct path, because frankly, I don't want to end up wandering around in the middle of nowhere, completely lost, catching malaria and so forth. We can harvest medicinal herbs here, which is exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to send Pedro Alvarado. And other than that, Barreto, I think, is tinkering at the moment. I believe he's working on, he's working on, let's see here. I said yeah before the screen popped up. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. He's working on pickaxe, so that's almost done, which means we'll find a bit more metal while we're out and about. And then we'll rest for the night. We gain 10 herbs and 12 meat, but nothing else terrible happens, which gives us a little bit to think about, considering how terrible things have been going for us recently in terms of just theft. Theft has been out of control. Oh, I forgot about the Aztec territory. Too late, we're too far. We'll get it when we swing back down for El Dorado. For once we landed on a spring just in time. I say we, by the way. I don't mean like we. I mean we as in me. But anyways, I mess up the W's and the M's. You flip it around and you get what I mean. So let's see if we can get back to Zalapa, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of narrative to drive ourselves forward. While we're here, we'll follow the road out to the west, hit the fort, maybe get ourselves into a little bit of trouble, maybe find a fight here or there, and see if we can get ourselves set up with some new buildings. So going back to tasks, I am going to assign him to herbalism for the night. And we lost another 700 valuables. What are my guards doing? Like, why do I even bother sometimes? It's hard for me to believe that with an 87% chance that, God, gambler's fallacy. Gambler's fallacy. Just keep repeating it in my head and just pretending like I understand. Let's see here. We have the market, and let me do damage control real fast because this absurdity is slowly beginning to wear on me. So basically, I gave away my medicine and my ration, or I gave away my equipment and my medicine back there. We lost everything that we made off of that. So people around these parts are just filthy, filthy thieves. Just ridiculous thieves. And so Tepik Toten has returned from his diplomatic tour of the Totonac tribes. He welcomes you back to Zalapa with a smile on his face so big it reaches all the way from his left ear to his right. Do I have some great news for you, El Gato Splatter? Although there was a small disagreement with Kempawala, all the Totonac chiefs have agreed to join me against Tenactalan. With the combined might of our tribes and the military aid of Tlaxcala, we now pose the most significant threat to their power that the Aztecs have ever faced. Did you talk to Quijotan? We were attacked by warriors in Kempawala. His grin fades. That conniving old bastard. Did you deal with it? We killed the attackers and kept the envoys alive. The meeting concluded quickly. After that, it seems Tlaxcala is on board. Thank the gods you were there to help and protect Quijotan. I will have your reward brought to you by your servants as soon as our business here is concluded. Why would Kempawala sabotage us? The chieftain of Kempawala considers his city the capital of the Totonac people, and he was not open to yielding any of his power. He was nothing but trouble when I came to that city, but thanks to the idol I was able to exert my influence behind the scenes, and long story short, he was overruled by his elders, and Kempawala has joined our cause without him. He must have caught wind of my plans to negotiate with Tlaxcala and sent his warriors to ruin the meeting before I visited the city. Perhaps he thought that was the sticking point of my plans. So what now? We can't strike directly against an Aztec settlement until we're ready for war, but in the meantime you can strike a blow against the enemy by hitting their supply lines. If you attack and raze their farms, they will not be able to withstand a prolonged siege, yet it will not be enough to provoke a full-scale response from them. You want me to kill defenseless peasants? He throws up his hands. These people are far from innocent. The land used to be ours, home to the Totonac people. When the Aztec wanted to expand their influence, they rolled in and took that land by force to use for agriculture. It seems like it'd be easier to walk in, but rolling works too. Since then, they've been exploiting it to the very limit of its capacity. I'll pay them a visit. Tepik Toten shakes your hand firmly. That's good. You can't trust somebody with a weird, like, handshake. You can't. You just can't do it. Good luck, El Gato del Splatter. I will take care of the logistics before the war. In the meantime, return here when you have dealt with the farms. So, let me take a look at how far away from the fort we are. I'm going to make a run out to the fort before we lose any more treasure and see if I can get us set up with a building that'll be completed pretty soon. Now, last time I was there, I was disappointed to find that they didn't really tell me what any of the buildings did, and that's kind of a bit of a gamble. I don't really know what to do with it. I think maybe I'll be able to store things there or otherwise kind of house my goodies there, but beyond that, I'm not really sure what use it's going to be. We didn't catch anything on our hunting party that night, but that's fine. There's a pig right here. It'll work out. That guy has a red skirt on, which is mildly terrifying. Oh, Totonac merchants. Okay, they're on our side. We've had that event before. Never mind. I was worried we were about to get steamrolled. So we found 5 herbs. We also found 11 herbs. After that, we found an oil. And then finally, we found some wood. I was doing that in kind of like a Mr. Rogers storytelling type fashion, I guess. I don't know why I did it. I can't explain it, guys. I can't explain it sometimes. Sometimes I just lose it. I lose it completely, and what happens, happens. There ain't no explaining it. So let's go ahead and get our herbalism on, because we did lose some herbage back there. Everybody else is currently working on things, but we need to get let's see here, preserving done. There we go. And so now that that's all done, we'll camp for the night. We find 16 rations overnight. We get 16 medicines, and then our party returns in good spirits with game. I am going to take these little kind of sidetrack these little tertiary or secondary objectives along the side of grabbing anything. It's a glowing pig. It's a glowing golden pig. Oh, never mind. It was red and green. It was red and green combining to become golden pig man. So we'll come down here and we'll shoot him as well. And I'm just amazed how just fruitful everything else is out here to the west. There's an absurd amount of resources out here for the gathering if you can get your hands on them. I'm going to do the same thing here. We get 12 rations, 14 medicines, and we gain 10 meat on our hunting party for the night, so everything's looking pretty good. I am going to go down here and grab as much of this as possible. We gain 21 herbs so far and 32 herbs, so there we go. We've more or less replaced what was lost, unfortunately, due to both thievery and the fact, well, I guess it was all thievery and bad trades, but in any case, we'll rest for the evening here, put these guys back on hunting duty. There we are. I'm going to have them do continued herbalism throughout the night, because you never know when somebody in this party, that scared me for a second. We finished Pickaxe 2, I was like, what is this? It was like one of those scary signs that pops up when you didn't complete the game fast enough. We've almost been here for a year. I didn't even notice that. 365 days is creeping up on us. We've been in the New World for a while, guys. This series is actually extended out much longer than I thought it would, too. Initially, I thought the game was just Hispaniola, and I thought, wow, this is going to be really short, until I realized Mexico would unlock afterwards. I was under some kind of misconception that the game was in a beta or something like that. Sometimes I get the story wrong. In fact, a lot of the time. But we're back at the Fortaleza, and so, let's see here. Ooh, what is this? A familiar figure awaits you in the hall. Coyotl appears you unarmed with approaches you unarmed. I can read. I swear to God, I can read. My hand to the blue sky. I can read. I promise you. He approaches us unarmed and is smiling. We meet again, El Gato del Splatter. I hope you don't mind my intrusion. I didn't expect to find you here. Getting inside was not easy. Your guards do their job well. He's like a native ninja. This is going to be amazing. Getting inside was not easy. Oh, I already read that. Why are you here? He clears his throat awkwardly. I am here to offer you my loyalty. You want to join me? Our project to redistribute the food resources to the commoners of Lake Texcoco did not go over well with my superiors. This didn't come as a surprise, of course. I expected demotion, but I was thrown out. What about your warriors? The few who remain loyal to me have gone their own way. Well, then they weren't that loyal, man. I'm gonna hope you mean they gone their way as in they were dead, because the loyalty card does not work if people take off on you. The rest now answer to another leader. You have helped me, and now I wish to help you. There's more to it than that, isn't there? He folds his arm across his chest. You have the attention of Moctezuma. Change follows closely in your wake. I wish to be on the right side of that change. Cool, let's go. And so he extends his hand with a smile, and we shake it. He says he'll serve us well, and everybody gets super stoked about it for whatever reason. I don't really know why. Maybe he's just a friendly guy. Maybe he had candy. I mean, if his loincloth was full of candy, I'm not positive I would eat the candy, but I would be excited that he gave me candy. And so let's expand our fortress. I don't really know what we should do first, but I think let's do a trading post. Building a trading post, oh, it does tell me. Maybe you just have to have the money for it first. Last time I clicked it, it was like, you don't have enough money, punk, and told me to walk away. So building a trading post will allow you to trade with Santo Domingo. Since you own the trading post, rates will be favorable, and it will take 12 days and 1,000 valuables. I don't know if that's just a store, because that's not nearly as cool as what I was hoping for. What does a stable do? It doubles your moves for 1 day when you visit it, so that means after we leave the fortress, we can actually haul ass really, really far. The workshop. We are able to buy items for use in combat. Additionally, it normally generates crafting materials. That's pretty cool. What about a tavern? The tavern will let you buy a round of drinks every week to give a morale boost to your followers. That's cool. Okay, the chapel. The chapel provides a morale bonus to your pious followers every 7 days. Not so useful. I don't have that many pious people. We can refurbish the storerooms. What does that do? It enables us to deposit our resources where they will be safe from bandits and savages. Okay, so there's a bank. And then the final thing is a barracks. What does that do? Rebuilding the barracks will allow you to maintain a garrison in the fortress, which will make a crucial difference down the line, which could, but the fact that they put an exclamation point there makes me think it's kind of vital. So I don't know if I can build multiple things at once, but first and foremost, let's do a stable, because when I visit here, I want to be able to get back to where I came from very rapidly. So we'll build the stable. And can I build multiple projects at once? No. Okay. So it said it would take 5 days, and while that's working, let's go ahead and take a look at Coyote, actually. I'm going to get outside town and into the brush a little bit here, just out into the bush. And once we're out there and we're on a camp screen, let's take a look at Coyote and see what he can do for us. So where is he? There he is. And so he's a champion recruit. And so what are his abilities looking like? So he's got stun already. He comes with it. His second action looks like charge. Deals 5 extra points of damage for every space moved just prior to the attack. God, that's amazing. Veteran, he gets swipe, which is, ooh, it attacks, it's basically a cleave. That's going to be really cool. Smoke bomb like everybody else. And rally, all units move 3 spaces towards the lieutenant. That seems like it wouldn't be that useful, but I am going to bring him along. So what equipment is he using? He's got an oaken blowgun, a flint mahuatl and shield. Okay. And he's got a bowler cap. No, he's got no armor. He is completely nude at the moment, and it's making everybody blush. So let's disrobe somebody else, because we're not going to use them anymore. I think I'll go with, let's see, Paulik. Let's get rid of Trevino, because I'm not a big fan of the glaive anyways. So Trevino is going to be on the back burner for now. We'll remove his equipment. We've got 1,600 XP, so let's get Coyote upgraded. And so the first thing I'm going to take for him is going to be Relentless. Definitely, because Relentless thus far has been one of the better talents that I've ever seen in the game. We're going to level up his skills here as well. We're going to go for a second promotion to get Swipe, which is pretty sweet. And it looks as though, let's see, we got an extra attack of opportunity maybe. We can do Keen Eye, which make his attacks ignore the enemy's armor, which would be nice against heavily armored people. We can make him get healed a little bit easier, which is tempting. His critical rate is 4% though, so I'm going to double his critical rate. So he's now got 6, or I'm sorry, I'm going to increase it by 50%. I kind of want to turn him into a sergeant, but I think I'm going to hold off for now. I think what I'll do instead is let's take a look at my warriors, and I think I'll turn her into my lieutenant, because I've been favoring her the entire game. I like her very much, and she gets rally, which means everybody moves towards her. It's an ability that I don't think is going to be that useful, but she's my favorite character so far, and I definitely want to give her something to incentivize the whole thing. So let's take a look. Oh, she doesn't have Relentless. Let's give her Relentless, actually. Apparently I missed that one in the overall scheme of things. So we get 1 lieutenant, and I think we get 2 sergeants, actually. Okay, so we got to be careful about who we promote to sergeant as well. I was briefly debating turning Ortega into a sergeant, and then Coyote into a sergeant, although what does he get if I do this? Oh, he gets the same thing. Everybody gets smoke bomb. So honestly, it's a tough decision, and I don't know which one to pick. I'm a little bit at a loss there. What we will do is we'll give him Jade weapons, which are going to be pretty cool, and we're also going to load him up with as much equipment as we possibly can. And so at this point, he's sitting at 48% damage reduction, 63 damage per swing, which is incredible, 33% chance to hit with range. Let's compare him, say, to Vidal. Oh, interestingly enough, how is Vidal? It might be because of his class. Let's check everybody else. So Trevino, yeah, I think it's just because his class is champion, which is something that we don't see very often. We've got to allocate his skills as well. I suppose since I removed a guard, I'll make him into a guard. And then I'll also give him some extra skills at hunting, possibly, just in case we need somebody extra to help us cure our food. Now, we didn't have any major fights in this episode, which is a little bit of a letdown. I am going to get Barracks started on axes, too, so that we can try and get a bit more resources as we move along. Now, it's kind of a temptation for me to stay here and wait for the stable to get done, because I am hoarding a lot of goods. So let's take a walk around the countryside and see if we can find ourselves any extra provisions, because I would like to get the storeroom stocked here once we have it, and keep it so that it's completely ready to go with everything we might need. So basically we have a fallback rally point, which is always a nice thing to have militarily if things start to not go your way. Let's tiptoe through the jungle here, and yeah, see, our valuables got stolen again. Man, we are just not having luck with that particular... Oh, I forgot to assign Coyote. That could be the problem. That's probably how I messed up. And so we've probably been running kind of a tight guard shift at the moment. I should very much like to get Barreto working on cannonballs too, because I was impressed with the way that the cannons worked out in the last episode. The cannons thumped and they laid down the smackdown on just about everybody that got in our way, to be completely frank about it, instead of being Tom about it or Will about it. Let's see with Coyote. There we go. You need a job, Coyote. Guard for me. 94% guard proficiency. That's going to work out just fine. And so we got 2 cannonballs. We found 1 equipment, but our hunters were piss poor on that turn. That's fine. They have their days. I understand. I've been hunting before. I didn't really enjoy it, so it was never something that I took up in the long term. I just didn't find any joy in it. I'd rather observe nature than blast it, to be fair. Plus, I never found gamey meat to be that good. The only game meat I think I've ever eaten in my entire life that I was like, damn, this is amazing, I believe, was elk. I had elk one time, and that was a delicious animal. That was an animal that I could definitely see being a victim in my near future, because frankly, it tasted delicious. Alligator is pretty good too. I've eaten alligator, but that was legally hunted alligator down in the Everglades long ago, and I had actually it was a burger. It was an alligator burger, and it was really good. Alligator was surprisingly tasty. You figure it swims around in a swamp full of mud and debris and so forth. It wouldn't be that tasty. I kind of associated with what I would assume like a raccoon would taste like, because they both dwell in just kind of squalor, disgusting water and so forth. Not the raccoon, but the alligator. But in any case, we can harvest medicinal herbs here, which is I think what I'm going to send Sanchez out to do. There we are. And so everybody else is doing their deal. I need people to preserve the meat that we just caught. And so we'll leave nobody hunting, it looks like. Overnight, we got ourselves some... Coyote has just finished relating the story of how he once, with a small group of warriors, defeated a large group of mixed tech warriors defending a strategically important village. Allegedly involved a night ambush, a bold distraction, and a not significant amount of hilarious quips. The other members of your expedition seem powerfully entertained by the Eagle Warrior's shenanigans. As Coyote's story comes to an end and the people finish their meals, they disperse into the camp to finish their chores for the night, but Coyote hangs back around, having finished his work for the evening. I'm not accustomed to following another commander. You had superiors in Tenochtitlan? Well, of course I had superiors, but as an Eagle Warrior, I've always been in charge of the men I fought with. Have you always been an Eagle Warrior? Only nobility qualifies to becoming an Eagle Warrior. From the first time I was taught to fight, it was with an eye to turning me into a leader on the battlefield, so he's kind of like a samurai. It's a privilege to have you by my side, Coyote, because you hit for 63 damage, and frankly, people that hit hard are terrifying. Likewise, Capitan Del Splatter, it seems like you're settling in. I have a lot left to learn about your people and your culture, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. I had become somewhat stuck in my station at Texcoco. This has been a good change of pace. Yeah, you're about to learn all about my people when we butcher everybody in that town we're headed towards. I'm pretty sure that's not going to go over well with both my wife and with Coyote. We'll see where that goes. I'm glad to hear it. You'll have to excuse me. I need to finish my work for the night. He smiles. Of course, Capitan. I think I'll make a quick round of the guard post myself before I go to bed. I sleep better knowing everything's in order. So he seems kind of like a backseat commander, but you know what? I'm not going to begrudge him for it, because frankly, there's a lot of stuff to manage around a camp. You got to make sure people have got their pants on appropriately. You got to remember to put on their armor before we go out in the morning. They keep trying to sneak extra little bits of bacon into their packs. It's just generally difficult to keep these guys in line. So with where we're at, I think it's probably in our best interest to break off this episode and call it a day. So my name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here in the Nerd Castle. I'm going to go back and make sure that everything went according to plan with the stable. After that, we'll head out from there, start by building something in the next episode, and maybe doing a little bit of exploration combined with following the storyline, because it seems like we've got a lot of the map uncovered. We may go hunt some Aztecs or something. So that being said, thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care out there, everybody.